controversial shark cull is underway in Western Australia following 7 fatal attacks.
Thousands of anti-cull protesters gather in
State
Perth.
government says its policy is not a shark
controversial culling program.
Protesters have labelled this inhumane and have vowed to disrupt the program.
There was an undersized shark caught on a drumline and fisheries had pulled it up. They'd released it with a live tag on it, and as they released it, it went belly up. So we decided obviously to jump in and swim the shark. And then after 78 minutes, we were starting to think, nah, there's no way that this shark's going to survive. And then lo and behold, this shark gives a beautiful kick-off and off it goes. And everyone was just extremely happy, and I don't even think you can tell over how overwhelming the feeling of joy is when you know that there's a shark that you've just swam for 78 minutes has gone off and survived to live another day and to keep our oceans healthy. That looks pretty good, guys. All clear. It's important to ensure that animals don't suffer, and when they're on these drum lines, for the time of period that they're on the drum lines for, they suffer immensely. So our goal is to actually ensure that the suffering is minimalised and that they don't die. Our organisation was on the water for roughly around 100 days. We were out there from 4 a.m. in the morning until 6 p.m. at night watching the drum lines.
Oh, stingray, fuck. Okay, alright, here we go.
Hang on. We just came across the drumline at Mullaloo, and there was a stingray caught on the line. It was an extremely large stingray. As a bycatch of the drumline mitigation program, we are set out to achieve to rescue this stingray. So we decided, in the best interest of the stingray, considering the hook was all the way through the top of its head and through the side, that we would have to cut the drumline.
Bye, baby.
And I don't consider it breaking the law for an animal. I believe that a life is a life.
Awesome, well done, guys.
In this campaign there was an incredible amount of public support after we saw the huge outpouring on the WA beaches at Cottesloe. A large number of those people then contacted us and asked us if we'd become involved with non-violent direct action to stop the hunt. And for that reason we formed the Marine Response Unit. The Marine Response Unit's function was to neutralise the drumlines in whatever ways possible, to basically make it so that no sharks were killed. Then we thought the best approach we could take was to debait the drum lines, and that was to move in a number of different ways. People went out there, they paddled out there, went out on surfboards. I even heard one guy swam out, and boats were the most effective way. and people would go out to these drum lines and then strip the baits off them and leave the hooks out there in the water. And it was extremely labour intensive to keep on debaiting those lines. So then a new strategy came up to get the hooks, and they were then, people would go out to the ocean and would throw the hooks after they debaited them. And then another strategy developed, which people would then go over and get the lines and tie all the buoys together and use all the ropes from the buoys to tie them all in big knots, so when fisheries came through, they would take a long time to disentangle the lines.
It's fair to say that, you know, we'd put our lives on the line for any animal. It's part and parcel with being a part of our organisation that we are there to protect the well-being and welfare of any animal that exists that needs it. So yeah, we would put our lives on the line.
We've got people in the water! Get back! There's people in the water!
Well, clearly the strategies were working very well, so we were raided. And what happened is that about 8 fisheries and police officers came here to this headquarters. After all of the police raids and all of the equipment they got, this is the only floating thing that we've got left. We haven't received any charges, but we've had all our gear confiscated, and I'm told it could be up to 2 years before we get it back, if we get it back at all. I think their penalty is a couple of years jail or up to $25,000 fine for interfering with the drumline. Well, we've got a whole lot of barristers and all sorts of people who've offered to defend us. We've had Sharks Defence Australia who've offered to pay our fines. And so from our point of view, it's just a matter of getting out there and doing our work, and we're happy to accept the consequences.
But for the 11 sharks that were saved and the 4 stingrays that were rescued and everything else that was done on the water to show the public what was going on was totally worth it. And there is no doubt in my mind that we will be back if the drumlines go back in, and we will ensure that we're more equipped and that we are more ready and that we are completely and utterly have got this down pat to a T now, that there is no way that we can see that there will be any sharks, hopefully, fingers crossed, killed on these drum lines and this barbaric slaughter of our marine creatures.